My wife cheated on me with my childhood friend. Then my own mother took her side. So last night, my wife of 7 years decided to have a chill-out night. After dinner, she went to the den to watch her shows while I was keeping an eye on the football game. Next thing I know, she's had 2 bottles of wine. At around midnight, I went to check on her and saw she was out cold on the couch. I went to scoop her up and carry her to bed when her Apple Watch buzzed. A message popped up on the screen. It said something along the lines of, "Haha, I can't do that. Your husband would absolutely destroy me." I wondered what on earth that was about, so I tapped it. It was a conversation between my wife and a guy I've known since we were teenagers. We used to call him Jacket Holder because back in the day, whenever there was drama, he'd just stand in the background holding everyone's jackets. I scrolled up to the top. There was endless flirting. But then I got to the messages from that very night. While totally intoxicated, my wife was openly begging him to hook up. I couldn't believe my eyes. She was saying how much she had always wanted him, how no one would ever find out, and the line that completely broke me. She bragged about how great she was at keeping secrets. I tried to scroll further, but couldn't without her passcode. I put her in bed, went down to the kitchen, and just sat there in pure shock until the sun came up. Every morsel of love I had for her evaporated into thin air. It felt like someone I looked up to turned out to be a complete monster. My entire perception of my life was shattered. This is insane. The fact that she bragged about being good at keeping secrets means this probably wasn't her first time hiding something from you. You need to confront her immediately. I know, it felt like a dagger through my heart. I've invested so much in her as a person, and realizing she's a backstabbing snake makes my entire reality feel shattered. Update 1. The next day and the confrontation. The next morning, I couldn't face her. I grabbed my keys, left my work van in the driveway, and went for a long walk down a disused railway line near our house. I was spiraling out of control. Thankfully, 2 dog walkers saw I was in distress and checked on me. They convinced me to clear my head, so I went to a friend's empty house just to calm down. Throughout the morning, my wife kept texting, asking where I was. I lied and said my van broke down, and I got a ride to work. By 6 p.m., after speaking to a divorce lawyer, I finally went home. I was dead on my feet. The second I walked through the door, my wife was on me, acting like everything was normal. She asked me a bunch of questions, trying to figure out why I was acting weird. I couldn't be bothered putting up a charade. I told her straight up. When I was putting her drunk self to bed, a message came up on her watch. I read it. I read all of them, and I told her she was a disgusting cheat, and I wanted nothing more to do with her. Her demeanor went from confident to a scared little girl in 1 second. Good at keeping secrets, huh? Begging that little rat to hook up. Yep, I read it all. She started sobbing. I just walked upstairs to shower. When I got out, she was sitting on the stairs and the playbook of excuses started. She was drunk. She was vulnerable. It didn't mean anything. I told her I wanted a divorce and gave her 1 month to move out of the house. I am so furious for you. Your parents' reaction is completely unacceptable. You don't owe them or your cheating wife anything. Pack your bags and leave them to deal with the mess they created. Here's the nightmare part. We live in a house owned by my parents, and things are about to get so much worse. Update 2. The parents' betrayal and the polygraph trap. When I told my parents what happened, my mother aggressively took my wife's side. She told me my wife just made a mistake, that it was only words, and insisted I shouldn't throw her out. I asked my mother why on earth she was taking the side of a cheater. She confessed that she has always seen my wife as the daughter she never had. My mother had a tragic loss before I was born, and she latched onto my wife to fill that void. Because my wife has no family of her own, my mother decided that throwing her out was unacceptable. My own parents chose someone who broke my heart over their own flesh and blood. The atmosphere in the house became a toxic no man's land. I started using the 180 method, being civil but completely cold. She kept crowing about how she would do anything to save the marriage and prove it was just a silly mistake. So I set a trap. I casually brought up taking a lie detector test. She was all for it until a few hours later. She came to me, tablet in hand, frantically reading articles about how inaccurate lie detectors are and how her anxiety would throw off the readings. I just laughed in her face. It appears she'll do anything to save the marriage, except take a polygraph. That was the last straw. I secretly packed all my things, put my house keys and the divorce papers on the kitchen table, and moved out while she was at an appointment. I blocked my wife's number, and I blocked my mother's number. If they wanted each other so badly, they could have each other. You did the right thing. Walking away from unsupportive family is hard, but you preserved your self-respect. What happened to Jacket Holder? I exposed him to our entire friend group. He has no friends left among us and has been completely ostracized. He blocked my number, but I hope ruining everyone's lives was worth it for him. Update 3. The hospital and the final encounter. It's been months since I walked out. I changed my number, moved towns, and cut complete contact with my family. But one day, I got a call from my dad through a mutual friend. My mother had taken a terrible fall, shattered her elbow and ribs, and was in the hospital begging to see me. Against my better judgment, I went. When I saw my mom, she looked incredibly frail. She told me how much she missed me, but then she started talking about my ex-wife. She told me how lost my ex was without me, hoping I would move back into the house. Right then, I realized nothing had changed. My mother hadn't had an epiphany. She just wanted her perfect little status quo back. I stayed for under an hour, told them I didn't want the house anymore, and walked out. It's now been a full year since everything blew up. I am officially divorced. About a month ago, I actually ran into my ex-wife for the first time. I was walking into a shop, and she was walking out. We locked eyes. She mumbled something I couldn't hear. We stared at each other for a few seconds, and I just kept walking. A wave of sadness hit me, but I realized I don't miss her. I miss the person I thought she was. I also recently found out from a friend that she was seen acting inappropriately at a pub with another guy years ago, long before I caught her. It just proves I made the right choice. I am now planning a massive trip to New York with my best friend. The last year has been the worst of my life, but I survived it. Loyalty is the most undervalued character trait, and you never know if someone is loyal until they're tested. I lost a cheating wife and unsupportive parents, but I finally found my self-respect. And honestly, I feel stronger than ever. This rings bells. I had a wonderful 15 years with my ex, and then suddenly by accident found out she had been cheating on me for 4 years. At first, it was the thought that it was a mistake, and we can do counseling and get past it, etc. Then the realization that she didn't make a mistake. She wanted that, and it was clear from the evidence I saw. I just refused to believe it at first. Then the realization and pain of realizing that the person I thought she wasn't, and that I was completely in the dark. Then realizing all the little clues along the way that I never picked up on, but subconsciously did, since I remember them now, before but now make sense. Then the pain of realizing that all the little nicknames and the inside jokes and the travel and the laughs and looks and the things that were so distinctly ours, they're all gone. That hurt more than the loss of the relationship. I even hoped for an apology or something, or that she'd tell me that someone from her past contacted her and she wanted to see where it was going and we could have taken a break or something. Though knowing me, a break would mean that I'm done, but at least giving it a chance. But no. In retrospect, it's weird to think of all the things I thought and reasons I had to try to make it work, even thinking it had anything to do with me. Now that I'm on the downhill side of things, I realize that this is what's best for me. 33% of my life spent with her will obviously be a painful separation, but at least now I can do a little living just for myself. I have also felt what OOP felt about his ex-wife, when all his feelings evaporated. My ex-husband used to really cross boundaries all the time. I told him, one day you will go too far and there will be no going back from it. He never believed me, but one day he did something rather small, and that was it for me. It was over, no going back. He couldn't accept it for a long time, because I had always been understanding before. I had finally had enough. My feelings were gone. My only regret is that I put up with it for so long. Listen to the apologies and the promises to be better. I can't speak for others, but I can speak for me. When I found out my ex of only 5 years wasn't who she said she was, I too fought hard for the relationship. I wanted to save it for a couple of reasons. Firstly, preconceived notions that divorce in general was bad. I married this person, I should fight. Second was grief. The person I loved literally didn't exist, but she did in my world. That person died then, and in their place was this confusing simulacrum of who they almost were as a constant reminder. But I lost the person I loved most in the world. And grief has many parts and is expressed in many ways. For me, denial hit first and hardest, then bargaining, then a lot of depression. I talked a lot through my therapist, and they were the one who helped me realize I was treating it like a death because it was, in my monkey brain, a death. A death that was extra confusing because the person still appeared alive. So that's why people don't just lose all love immediately. Or at least some people may. I hope that helps. Drop a comment below and tell me what you would have done in his shoes. If you want more stories just like this, hit that subscribe button and leave a like on the video. It really helps the channel out. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you in the next video.